Okay, so we've went through Jeremiah and Isaiah here lately, and I just reread Joel. There's only 3 chapters, and it's not that long. But Joel explains everything perfectly. It confirms the message, what we've been learning. Look right here in the last chapter, chapter 3, verse 18. And it shall be in that day that the mountains drip with new wine, and the hills flow with milk. Now, would you like some of that new wine? The Most High has some of that right here for you. All you have to do is turn your ears on, open your eyes, pay attention to what we're reading, pause and reread it however many times it takes. Take notes. This video shouldn't be that long, but what we're about to read, Abba willing, if I can get it out my mouth, it's gonna satisfy you if you're willing to learn. If it conflicts with your lifestyle, it's probably gonna piss you off. Yeah. That new wine, it has the tendency to piss people off. That is true. But if you're on a mission to find deliverance, it's going to satisfy your bones. The word of Yahuwah that came to Joel, son of Pethuel. Hear this, you elders, and give ear, all you inhabitants of the land. Has this ever been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Excuse me. Relate it to your children, and your children to their children, and their children to the generation after them. And I want to pause right there, because what it's about to say in verse 4, it says, what the gnawing locust left, the swarming locust has eaten. What the swarming locust left, the crawling locust has eaten. What that means, he's not talking literal locust. He's talking there's nothing left of the way things were. There's nothing left of this peaceful life that they once lived. That's what he's telling. He's wanting to get across to the inhabitants of the land. And the reason I want to pause, that video that I shared on Escape Babylon, the Hopi prophecy video, that's like 30 minutes long, it describes this very event happening. They had the prophecy that white man would come and build railroads all over the place and highways, and they would force them into these concentration camps and schools and these re-education programs and all this stuff that happened. It really did happen. And I know most people in America, they don't want to admit that happened, but it happened. And yes, we weren't there when it happened, but the majority of the people here are enjoying the luxuries that was born out of all that. And it is they're our people. All people are our people. They're all our brothers and sisters. But to just sweep this under the rug like it didn't happen to these Native Americans out here, and 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 pretend like it's okay. It's wicked to do that. We have to acknowledge what has happened. And in that video, the guy talks about how his grandpa told him what happened, and his grandpa before him, and they passed it down. They related what happened to their children and their children's children. What happened? How they used to have it made in the shade, but after the Most High sent white man. And that's just that's the cold hard facts. After that, and those were that was the locust. It's all been destroyed. And the only thing we have left to cling on to is the word of the Most High. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep and wail, all you drinkers of wine, on account of the new wine. For it has been cut off from your mouth. We just read that the mountains, in chapter 3, that the mountains would drip with new wine. The mountains are that new wine. It's everything. And the reason it's being cut off from these drunkards' mouth is because they're too drunk to even listen, to even hear what they think they know what the new wine is. But it's all about returning to those mountains. But the drunkards got no intention on returning to the mountains. They think it's a joke. For a nation has come up against my land, strong and innumerable. And here's this last part of verse 6 is one way you can positively, I repeat, positively identify who it is he's talking about. Its teeth are the teeth of a lion, and it has the fangs of a lioness. Well, do lioness and lion, the male lions, have different fangs? The Most High roars from his mountain with the voice of a lion. The enemy, yes, he roams around like a lion to see who he may devour. But the reason the Most High uses the words teeth of a lion or fangs of a lioness, that's to let you know that this nation that come against his land, they will claim to be the land and the nation. Yasharal. That's what that is explaining. And I assure you, I promise you, that's what it means. Go all through the prophets, all over the place. Whenever it's talking about the fangs of a lion, the mouth of a lion, it's talking about the gates of the city. Either the Most High, his voice roaring from his set-apart dwelling place, or the imposter claiming to be the set-apart dwelling place. That's what the teeth of a lion mean in prophecy lingo. I promise. It has laid waste my vine and splintered my fig tree. Could you see how that could happen? How if the enemy created a imposter nation and return and people, and the whole world is bowing and kissing the ring of that place and them people. Could you see how that would lay waste his vine and splinter his fig tree? It would, wouldn't it? It has made it entirely bare and cast it away. Its branches became white. Wail like a maiden, girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. There's that husband or wife of our youth again. The grain offering and the drink offering have been cut off from the house of Yahuwah. Now, this is another way you can positively no doubts about it, positively identify who the image of the beast is and what's happening right now. By the time we get done reading all these 3 chapters, you're going to see that this is talking about the end time, what's happening in the day of Yahuwah. He's telling us that in the day of Yahuwah, in the end, that the grain offering and the drink offering have been cut off from the house of Yahuwah. Well, wait a second. If Israel is the house of Yahuwah, the grain offering and the drink offering, it ain't been cut off. They're still doing it every day, every year over there. They're going to make a new temple. Do you see? And this is you're going to see that this is talking about the end. It has been cut off because that's not the right place. It's not true. It's the congregation of Satan. The priest, servants of Yahuwah, have mourned. The field is ravaged. The ground has mourned, for the grain is ruined. The new wine has dried up. The oil fails. And all those are code words, riddle words that the Most High uses. The field, well, I'm going to explain all this. The field is just like if whatever your profession causes you to go out in the field, right? As far as your profession, your position, what you do for work. That's what the field means. The field is ravaged. The ground has mourned. That's the pasture. For the grain is ruined. The grain is what? It's the fruit. You plant seeds and it produces fruit. The grain, it's ruined. And the new wine has dried up. The new wine, about the mountains, about returning, about our rest. The oil fails. The oil, what? The desire in people to serve the Most High, to love the Most High. The farmers are ashamed, the vine dressers wail over the wheat and over the barley, for the harvest of the field is destroyed. And it is. It's destroyed. I have hope for a few people, because the Most High keeps reminding me that there will be a remnant to come out of this great distress. But he does tell us they're going to be few in number. And so at the same time, that gives me hope for some, but at the same time, that lets me know for a fact that many, the overwhelming majority of the population, they're destroyed because they hate the new wine. It's a joke. They don't believe it. They think the new wine is them doing what they're doing right now. But it involves no rest, no truth. The vine has dried up and the fig tree droops, pomegranate, also palm and apple tree. All the trees of the field are dried up, because joy has dried up among the sons of men. The sons of men are those trees. That's what he's talking about. They've dried up because there's no joy. There's no rest. They have no home. There's no deliverance. Gird yourselves and lament, you priest. Wail, you attendants of the slaughter place. Come, lie all night in sackcloth, you attendants of my mighty Most High. For the grain offering and the drink offering are withheld from the house of your mighty Most High. Set apart a fast. What do you think he's talking about? You think he's telling you to set apart, don't eat anything? He's not. He's told us so many times. He says, I never, when I say fast, I'm not meaning for you to afflict your being by going without food and starving yourself. That's not what he's talking about. He says, am I not meaning for you to fast, for you to unloosen the cords of wrongness? That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to fast on Babylon. He don't want you to not eat meat or not eat food today. He wants you to put down blasphemous names. Set apart a fast on that sort of thing, on these holidays that don't reverence him at all. even though the people like to say they do, but they don't. They propagate Baal. He wants you to fast on all that. Call an assembly, gather the elders, all the inhabitants of the land, where into the house of Yahuwah your Most High, and cry out to Yahuwah. Alas, for the day of Yahuwah is near, and it comes as destruction from the Almighty. Is not the food cut off from before our eyes, joy and gladness from the house of our Most High? See, he's talking about the day of Yahuwah, the end. And it's going to keep, as we keep reading, he's going to keep pounding that home. By the time we get done with Joel, you're going to know for a fact that in the end, there would be no grain in the house. There would be no new wine in the house. That's what's going on. The seed has rotted under their clods. Storehouses are laid waste. Granaries are broken down, for the grain has withered. How the beasts moan. The herds of cattle are restless because they have no pasture. The flocks of sheep also perish. I cry to Yahuwah, for fire has consumed the pastures of the wilderness, and a flame has set on fire all the trees of the field. Even the beasts of the field cry out to you, for the water streams are dried up, and fire consumed the pastures of the wilderness. Blow a shofar in Sion. Now you see how this, if you are a lover of the Most High and His Word, you know, just like I do, that the Most High don't contradict Himself. He don't talk out the side of His neck. He says what He means, and He means what He says. Always. And every word is always necessary. It's a must. We just seen there was no grain in the storehouse. He was alluding to this imposter in the end. And the deliverance comes from what he's trying to encourage us to do in verse 1 of chapter 2 here. Blow a shofar, a trumpet in Sion. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm attempting to do this. And sound an alarm in my set apart mountain. That's what I'm doing. I'm here at the set apart mountain. Try and prove me wrong. You will not be able to. That's where I'm at. Let all the inhabitants of the earth tremble, for the day of Yahuwah is coming, for it is near. A day of darkness and gloom. A day of clouds and thick darkness, like the morning cloud spread over the mountains. And like I say, all these words are riddle and code, and he means everything he says. He ain't just trying to paint you a pretty picture. He's telling you the facts about what's happening right now to instruct you, to guide you to life and joy and happiness, peace, rest, health, laughter. A people, many and strong, the like of whom has never been, nor shall there ever be again after them, to the years of many generations. I used to have all kinds of ideas who this would be. I thought it was Chinese, Russians. No, it's the people who firmly believe, and they're all around the world, that their ticket's punched to heaven, and that Israel is the land, it's the home, they're God's holy people, and you better not even look at them. That's what's happening right now. Just imagine it. A whole world of people who are believing this horrible, abominable lie. And they're being taken out by it specifically. They've been made drunk by it. They don't know where home is. Ahead of them a fire has consumed, and behind them a flame burns. Yep. Before them the land is like the Garden of Eden. And that lets you know who he's primarily talking about, like we've been learning. The image of the beast has been propped up by the Christians, mainly in America. That's why it says before them, the land is like the Garden of Eden, and they got no idea. It's sitting right here. People live here, and they don't even know where they are because of the lie they've been told. And behind them, a desert waste, and from them there is no escape. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and they run like steeds. Horses. The noise of chariots, as the noise of chariots, they leap over mountaintops, as the noise of a flaming fire consuming stubble, as a mighty people set in battle array. Before them peoples are in anguish, all faces become flushed. They run like mighty men, they climb the wall like men of battle. Everyone goes on his way, and they do not break ranks. They don't. And they do not press one another. Everyone goes in his path. Nobody begs for the truth to be spoken because it would conflict with their paths, what they're doing right now. They fall among the weapons, but they do not stop. They rush on the city. They run on the wall. They climb into the houses. They enter at the windows like a thief. The earth shall tremble before them. The heavens shall shake. Sun and moon shall be darkened, and the stars withdraw their brightness. Now, this is all, like I said, I've been saying, these are all riddle code words. This is exactly what Revelations is talking about the sun and the moon shall be darkened. That means he's trying to tell you, and the stars withdrawing their brightness, the stars are the prophets, the messengers of the Most High's word. They've withdraw their brightness, withdrew their brightness. And the earth shall tremble before them. The foundations, where you think, where is where. And the heavens, the truth that comes out of the word, shall shake. And Yahuwah shall give forth his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for mighty is the doer of his word. The number ain't got nothing to do with how great his army is. He just told you, for mighty is the doer of his word. For the day of Yahuwah is great and very awesome, and who does bear it? Who bears it? Who is able to stand in the day of his coming? Are you able to look to see if this really is the image of the beast? If the abomination that lays waste is laying the world waste right now? People can't even talk about it. They can't bear it. They can't handle it. It pisses them off. Yet even now, declares Yahuwah, turn to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and tear your heart and not your garments, and turn back to Yahuwah your mighty Most High, for he shows favor and is compassionate, patient, and of great loving commitment, and he shall relent, concerning the evil. Who knows? He might turn and relent and leave a blessing behind him, a grain offering and a drink offering for Yahuwah your mighty Most High. Blow a shofar in Sion, set apart a fast, call an assembly, gather the people, set the assembly apart, assemble the elders, gather the children and nursing babes. Let a bridegroom come out from his room, and a bride from her dressing room. Wink, wink. The marriage supper. That's what this is. That's the end. The day of the Most High, when the bridegroom comes and the 5 foolish wise virgins leave because they had their oil in their lamps trimmed. They heard the voice telling them to come out and meet the bridegroom. You have to meet him at the house. That's what has to happen. Let the priests, servants of Yahuwah, weep between the porch and the slaughter place, and let them say, spare your people, O Yahuwah, and do not give your inheritance to reproach, for the nations to rule over them. Why should they say among the peoples, where is their Most High? And let Yahuwah be jealous for his land and spare his people. Code word jealous, which it's not too much of a code. We should all understand why the Most High would be jealous. But if you notice, every time it mentions him being jealous, it's over the land. It's over Yerushalayim, over Sion. It's for Sion's sake, every time. And if you go to Ezekiel, I think it's chapter 12, you'll read about the image of jealousy. It's so simple, you guys. All these, once you start learning these code words and you understand, and you, like when you hear jealous, you understand that he's talking about the land, Sion, Yerushalayim, the house. You understand, that's going to open your eyes to what the image of jealousy is. And I'm living proof of that, because I used to think the image of jealousy was the Statue of Liberty. That's how far up my rear end my head was. And I got the receipts to prove that that's what I used to think. But I know for a fact now, after much study of this word and understanding his code words, these set apart words of the Most High, I understand what he's talking about now. They said it sets in the gate. That means it's blocking you from getting home, because you think that is the home, but it's convinced you altogether to not even care about it altogether. It's an abomination that lays waste. You see how all these words are necessary? You have to understand. When he said the abomination that lays waste, he wasn't kidding. It's laying waste the entire world. When this is all over with, if there's 8 billion people on the earth, I'm going to guess that it's going to be right close to the 8 billion mark is going to be the amount of people that are laid waste because of this when it's all said and done at the end. And that's not talking about all the people before, years before, like our grandparents and stuff, who were completely hoodwinked, and the news of the image of the beast couldn't come out until now. Imagine all the people generations before us who got hoodwinked by all that. And that's why it says that it's going to be many. They're going to be dung on the face of the earth. And let Yahuwah answer and say to his people, see, I am sending you the grain and the new wine and the oil, and you shall be satisfied by them. And no longer do I make you a reproach among the nations. And the northerner, Babylon, the land of the north, I shall remove far from you and drive him away into a dry and deserted land, with his face toward the eastern sea and his rear toward the western sea. Those are code words. That's letting you know where your true home is. And his stench shall come up and his smell arise, for he has done greatly. Anytime you see one of my verses in gray, I mark it gray because it's where the Most High is identifying the image of the beast. He has done greatly. His face toward the east, his rear toward the west. That's all spoken of in Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah. It's why the Messiah said, the coming of the son of Adam is going to be as lightning strike flashes in the east and shines to the west. Do you think the Messiah was just illiterate and dumb and he didn't realize that when light flashes, it goes out in all directions? Or do you think he was just that dumb and you think he thought that only light flashes to the west and it only flashes in the east? No. Those are words of deliverance, my friend. And you best put them to good use. And now, not tomorrow. Do not fear, O soil. Be glad and rejoice, for Yahuwah has done greatly. He has. Do not fear, you beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness shall spring forth in the end. That's what's happening. And the tree shall bear its fruit, the fig tree and the vine shall yield their strength. And you, children of Sion, be glad and rejoice in Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, for he shall give you the teacher of righteousness. That mighty right hand, baby, leaves you sliced and diced every time. And cause the rain to come down for you, for the former rain and the latter rain as before. And the threshing floor shall be filled with grain, and the vats shall overflow with new wine and oil. Then I shall repay you the years that the swarming locust eaten and the crawling, what has been taken from you, you're going to get it back manyfold. Then you shall eat and be satisfied, and shall praise the name of Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, who has done with you so wondrously. That's why I'm here. And my people shall never be put to shame, and you shall know that I am in the midst of Yasharal, and that I am Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, and there is no one else. And my people shall never be put to shame. And after this, it shall be that I pour out my spirit on all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men dream dreams, young men see visions. And also on the male servants and on the female servants I shall pour out my spirit in those days. And I shall give signs in the heavens and upon the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. Columns of smoke hide things. Like a smoke bomb, you know? Like the image of the beast, like spraying white phosphorus over top of people's heads, innocent little children and stuff. Kind of like that, like a smoke screen, you know? The sun is turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. We know that that's happened. These eclipses landing precisely on all these days, these feast days, appointed times. We see all these signs. We see the sign like the Hopi prophecy, the last sign, the dwelling place in the heavens above the earth, appearing as a blue star, crashing to the earth. We see all these signs. We know that this is the great and awesome day of Yahuwah. We're in it, and it's only going to intensify. And it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah shall be delivered. For on Mount Sion and in Jerusalem there shall be an escape, as Yahuwah has said, like we've been saying, right? And that's, you ain't finding no escape anywhere else. It don't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are, what you've been saying, what you've been eating, doing. It don't matter. It's good that if you're trying to, do right, yes, that's what it's all about, getting it right. But not everyone who calls on the name of the Most High is going to be delivered. No. Because you notice he said it, and it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah shall be delivered. Because on Mount Sion and in Jerusalem there shall be an escape. That means that's how you call on the name of Yahuwah. Yeah, you got to say his name. Yeah, you got to quit using names of blasphemy, but you have to call on him. You have to want deliverance. And if you do, you call on him and you ask for that, he's going to guide you. He ain't going to snatch you. He's going to lead you, whistle for you and lead you, because you have to want this. You have to choose to come to your deliverance. You got to come to Mount Sion, Jerusalem. There shall be an escape, as Yahuwah has said, through all the word, everywhere. And among the survivors whom Yahuwah calls, not who he kidnaps, he calls. For look, in those days and at that time, when I turn back the captivity of Yehudah and Jerusalem, then I shall gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I shall enter into judgment with them there for my people, my inheritance Yasharal, whom they have scattered among the nations, and they have divided up my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a young man for a whore, and sold a girl for wine, and drank it. And also, What are you to me, O Sor and Sidon and all the coast of Philistia? This is more identification of the image of the beast. Sor, Sidon, the coastlands of Philistia, that's Palestine, that's Gaza, that's Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, all that. That's what he's talking about. If you asked a Palestinian if they're called the land of Palestine or Philistia, they're going to say Philistia. They know. Sor is right there. The town Sor, I've done showed you on the map. It's right not too far from Gaza. It's all right there. He's talking to them. That's where they placed this imposter throne. Are you repaying me? If you are repaying me, I would swiftly and speedily return your reward on your own head. For you have taken my silver and my gold and brought my treasures into where? Your temples. Do you think he's being literal? You think he's meaning literal gold and silver? No, he's not. He's talking about us. He's talking about our faith, our anything, any reverence that would go to him, to truth, to right ruling, to justice, to love, to peace, all this. They've taken it. The coast of Philistia, Sor and Sidon. They've taken everything that's good, and they've stole it and put it in their temples. They've said, this is the place. Come here. Come baptize yourself in this water. Come listen to these lies we tell you about the Messiah. And the people of Yehuda and the people of Jerusalem you have sold to the sons of Yawan to remove them far from their borders. And that's what's going on right now. But they also did that to these poor Hopi and Yahuts, or whatever, however you say their name, Yahudim, these people who are in the true land. They came and killed them, raped, tortured. And why? Because they wouldn't. And why they did that was to break their spirit, to break their bond, their unity they had in serving the Most High, in rest, in walking the path of righteousness. They tore that down. That's why they humiliated them, forced them into schools, divided them, took them from their land. And I've showed you guys years ago how they took a bunch of these natives here and shipped them out on ships all across the whole world. There's Native Americans that are native to right here in America that got shipped to like Russia and Siberia and Africa, all over the place. And I've shown you guys how that happened. And not only that, but in all terms, they've did that to all of us. They've removed all of us from our borders, far from our borders. See, I am stirring them up out of the place to which you have sold them, and I shall return on your own head what you have done, and shall sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the people of Yehuda, and they shall sell them to the Shebaites, to a nation far off, for Yahuwah has spoken. Proclaim this among the nations, prepare for battle, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of battle draw near, let them come up, not just mentally and spiritually, but physically. Imagine what it's going to mean for your faith, for your spirituality, your steadfastness, your resolve. If you can literally make one foot move in front of the other for the Most High, you can say, that's his home and he wants me to come there 3 times a year. Can I do this? Can I actually go there? I mean, I got a vacation planned around that time to go to Honolulu or go to Cancun. I can go do that. Could I do this? Could I do this for the Most High? Would it be embarrassing for you to actually show up at his house because the people would look at you and think he's crazy? Yeah, the world is going to think you're crazy, and you will be crazy. It's going to take crazy to do this, but that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to show up to his house. You're going to have to put one foot in front of the other. like that old Paula Abdul song, but you don't take 2 steps back. You keep progressing forward. And if you can convince your feet to do that, and then you find yourself standing in the house of the Most High and you did it, guess what? You were faithful, trustworthy. You didn't care what the people thought. You only cared about what He thinks. Bravo. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And we know how we are strong. We know. Hasten and come, all you nations, and gather together all around, O Yahuwah. Let your mighty men come down here. Let the nations be aroused and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I shall set to judge all the nations on every side. This is how he's judging you, like I've been telling you. The word, if you can't come, that you're judged. That's how you're going out. That's how you're going to be destroyed, because you refuse to even listen to this. Put in the sickle, for the harvest has grown ripe. Come, go down, for the winepress is filled. The vats overflow, for their evil is great. Crowds in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. You got a decision to make. Sun and moon shall become dark, and stars shall withdraw their brightness. And Yahuwah shall roar from Sion and give forth his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahuwah shall be a refuge for his people, and a stronghold for the children of Yasharal. Then you shall know that I am Yahuwah, your mighty Most High, dwelling in Sion, my set-apart mountain. And Jerusalem shall be set apart, and foreigners shall not pass through her again. And it shall be in that day that the mountains drip with new wine. I'm here to tell you, my friends, that day is today. It's dripping with new wine. And you ain't never been satisfied like you're going to be satisfied when you start enjoying yourself on that new wine. And you start realizing what the image of the beast is, the abomination that lays waste, the man of lawlessness, all these lies about the Messiah and the Most High's word, his tent, all this blasphemy. When you come out of all that, you're going to be so satisfied with this word that you won't be able to get enough of it. And the hills flow with milk, and all the streets of Yehuda shall be flooded. Streams of Yehuda shall be flooded with water, and a fountain flow from the house of Yahuwah and water the Wadi Shittim. Mitzrayim shall become a ruin, and Edom a ruin, a wilderness, because of violence done to the people of Yehuda, whose innocent blood they shed in their land. But Yehuda shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem to all generations. And I shall avenge their blood, which I have not avenged, and Yahuwah shall be dwelling in Sion. Not Sidon or Sor, the coastlands of Phoenicia, the image of the beast, not there. He don't dwell there. He dwells on his set-apart mountain.